it can get very draining to go through this process of making friends. And so I think it's so valuable to know that it's going to be work in the upfront, to not treat it like this is fully recreation. It's a little recreation and it's a good amount of work too. There is both. Love has a light and dark component. Love can be this expressive, I feel the most free, I feel the most surrendered experience. And it can also be, I have all this obligation, I have all this duty, responsibility, and work. Both of those can be love. There is often not the highest highs without some of the other anchoring lows. And so thinking about it like that can help. It's not necessarily the most romantic view on friendship, but it is truthful from my experience. And if you've resonated with that, let me know in the comments. Hey you, I'm Anissa. Welcome to Create to Liberate. We're talking about the power of making friends, the importance of making friends, especially in your 30s as an adult. And definitely moving to LA was a huge piece of importance to me. I know that my ability to really feel connected with the place has to do with my relationships in that place. I always share wisdom from my own lived experience, as I believe we're all each other's mirrors. So we provide a mirror to each other to be able to see ourselves more clearly and ideally empower each other. If you enjoy this video, hit the like button, subscribe to this YouTube channel, and if you're listening on audio, 5-star review. Without further ado, let's get into it. Making friends. We're going to get into first the challenge of making friends as an adult. It's super real because yes, you grow up in schooling years with so many options of so many people, and you're also in proximity to so many kids. That's so much of your life, whether it's in high school or college. You're just forced into quarters where, of course, organically you're going to have time to make friends. But then once you enter the working world, you have to be a little bit more intentional about it. And that continues to progress as you get through different stages of life, whether you're in your 30s, 40s, 50s, or beyond. It's deeply important, no matter what stage of life you're at, to continually making new friends. My mom's in her 70s, and so I do witness her being kind of the OG of making new friends every time she travels to a new place, meets new people, builds a community. She's really amazing at this, and she's been doing this all of my life. And so I think in witnessing her do it in her 40s, 50s, 60s, and now 70s, it's really amplified to me the beauty and the importance of it as a forever state of being. I do think there's value to having our core friends or deep, long-lasting connections with people from earlier in life, but it is so valuable to have people who reflect who you are today, who you feel really seen and heard by as you are currently in your present. Because oftentimes the people we would select wouldn't be the people that we chose in the past, to be honest. Sometimes we want people who are also in our same place. So that was a big thing for me. I'll start there. When I moved here from New York City to LA, I had just a few small people that I knew from work experiences or friends that were more like acquaintance type friends, but I didn't have deep friendships. And so I was in a real rebuilding, making intentional effort to meet people, going to events, etc. And I'll get into what those tips actually were, because so many of us are going to be in that same position ongoingly in life, needing to build from the ground up. Maybe you had a friend breakup, maybe something else. So many people know you go out, you go to things that you actually love and enjoy. And that is the beginning, the starting ground to making friends. Do the things that you love. And in those spaces, make sure that you linger. So this is a big opportunity that many people miss out on. When you actually go to these events, make sure that you stay there after the event. Maybe it's yoga class, maybe you go to whatever you're interested in. It's really hard for me to brainstorm at this moment, but anything that you're interested in, go to those things and linger after it's over. So if it's a class, if it's a workshop, if it's a course, linger and make sure that you spend time just making small talk with people, because you never know of those people who are in attendance who you're really going to connect with. It's so beautiful to just throw a compliment to somebody, say, hey, I like your bag, where'd you get it? And then start building from a small gesture into something larger, because it might seem really insignificant. You're just complimenting their bag, you're saying something that you liked or noticed about them that stood out to you, but they're actually choosing to be in the same place as you. So clearly you too have a connection beyond that superficial item that you've complimented. It's just a bridge into getting to know somebody. Another great bridge that I love is just asking people very directly, because I have a Scorpio moon and I'm kind of intense when I go to events that resonate with me. They're usually in the mindfulness, yoga, wellness category. So it's usually folks who are okay being more vulnerable. They're okay sharing what's on their heart. I'm not very much into small talk. So I open with what brought you here. What inspired you to show up today? What did you have to do to get yourself here today? And then from there, seeing where the conversation goes. But I think it's really powerful also to share openly ourselves first and create the introduction where it's, hey, I'm here because I moved to the city a year ago. I didn't have very many friends, and I'm looking to make new connections with people who are interested in similar things to me. And that's a normal thing to share, actually. You can share openly that you're in the openness of making new friends, that you're not hiding that fact. You're like, oh, I'm here because I'm seeking new friendships. I went to an amazing yoga class, and one of the girls that I just said, like, oh, what brought you to the class today? She said, well, I recently became sober and I'm trying to find more sober community. And I was like, oh, that's amazing. And then I recommended other things that we could do together that are sober. And I think it's really beautiful when folks allow themselves the level of vulnerability to admit why they're really showing up. The intentionality behind it isn't to be underrated. I think it's so powerful to lead with that vulnerability as well and get more comfortable just sharing openly the truth as to why you're showing up. You don't have to be like, I've been so lonely, woe is me, or come from any level of victimization. Just saying from an empowered state, I'm really excited to make new friends. I'm excited to be in the new city, to be meeting friends who have similar interests. So we got the first step is actually go to the events that spark your interest, spark your curiosity, because then you'll find people who are like-minded in that sense. So you generally will have some level of connection with them. And then beyond that, it's hard to figure out who you're going to build a deeper level of intimacy with. So beyond connection, who do you have chemistry with? Chemistry is something that we can't make up. Unfortunately, you might have maybe like 10 conversations with new people and there's only one person that you feel a level of sparkle, chemistry with. And that's the person that you should actually focus on maybe making a deeper level friend. But all friends have some value. You might have people that you see on a monthly basis, people you see on a seasonal basis, people that you see on a weekly basis. It might just be a different level of friendship that you have with different people. And some people are slower to open up and it's harder to understand if you really have chemistry because they're not necessarily leading with their authentic self, but you in leading with your authentic self can really set things on the trajectory to be that dynamic that you deeply seek. I know that there's a loneliness epidemic going on, and I think a huge part of it is that we're on social media, engaged in digital stuff so much, and maybe you're seeing people hanging out with friends and it feels like everybody else has something going on, but really making sure that you don't compare yourself to other people is so important, and just do the things that excite you. And from you rating the joy from doing those things that excite you, from maybe rock climbing or being in the world hiking, etc., then you'll organically attract in people, right? When you meet people at a lower vibration, then you're probably going to attract in people who are also at that vibrational level. So I've had those moments in the past of making a lot of friends, but feeling kind of down, and a lot of my friends felt kind of down, and we were attracted to each other and a little trauma bonded. So it's really beautiful when you can get to a high vibrational state and feel more good and more self-soothing, self-caring in your state of making friends, and then attract people who are kind of on that level as well. So you met somebody that you have amazing chemistry with, you have a connection with, maybe they live in the same city as you want to make plans to see each other regularly. This is the key. You actually have to be intentional about making those plans. So a lot of it comes back to nurture. We can say that we want friends, and then there's the work component, right? How much are you efforting and following up with them in text and checking in? How much are you calling each other for like quick little updates? How's your weekend? Would love to do something later in this week. If you're available, let me know. And sharing little updates like that really help things move along if you really hit it off with somebody and you want to go deeper. Obviously, some people are not be open to that. You hit it off with them, it doesn't matter. They're just at maximum capacity right now as far as their social bandwidth, and that's real too. So really prioritizing the energy towards those who are available. We can run into the same anxious attachment dynamics in adult relationships, and it's so silly, but it happens. Definitely don't choose friends just for friends' sake. Hold space for folks that you feel really good about, and make sure that when you leave those friends, you feel lit up. Obviously, certain relationships might get devalued or near prioritization maybe over time if they aren't feeling really good, if they aren't supportive, if they aren't healthy, etc. And so important to continue nurturing your pre-existing friendships. So for myself, even though I moved to a new city and I didn't have very many friends here in LA, I still had so many friends that I wanted to stay in touch with. And so I had still all these regular weekly calls and regular monthly check-ins, and still have all the maintenance of all the pre-existing friendships that I already have. Your IRL friendship time is so deeply important, so fulfilling for the soul. When I see my mom, she always tends to choose to live in community with other people, and it expands her world in a way that I just can't express, especially because she lives out of the country. And so she meets other folks who have pre-existing histories in other countries. And so it's allowed her to really have fluidity as to where she travels because she has friends scattered throughout the world. And I think that's quite a beautiful thing. The expansiveness that we experience through friendships unlocks different parts of us. On an energetic level, we're all mirrors of each other, yes, but we also, in coming together, create a unique chemistry, yes, that only can be experienced with that particular person. I think there's a beauty to that. We can learn so many lessons from each other. There's so much expansion that comes exponentially when you're in connection with other people in relationship. Oftentimes we want to do all this inner work completely in solitude and then go out into the world and think that it will be realized, but a lot of our inner work is often meant to be experienced relationally. So if there's a piece of that advice that sparks something in you, you have other pieces of advice that you'd like to share, drop them below. If you like this video, hit the like button, subscribe to this channel, and we'll definitely keep connecting. Rate a 5-star review on audio. And I'm sending you so much love and keeping your heart open, keeping your life more zesty, expansive, for adventures, for meeting new people. Life gets busy. We have so many obligations, etc. It is such a joy to have this privilege of having time and energy for new connection as well. Sending you so much love. Appreciate you being here.